your skin. All that is matters, let it in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Web Weavers. I am Sprinkles Nixon, and today we have an awesome show for you to join in with us. So if you're able to get into the chat, come on in and join us. And if you can, we're going to have our phone lines open, and we'll be taking questions and stuff. But I got to tell you, we have such a special show today. My guest is a transfiguration medium and a channeler within an online circle dealing with off-world connections. She's a tutor for the spirit on many subjects, including cosmology, I believe it is. I might have said that wrong. And she's also an author with many books written on automatic writing scripts. Her latest book is A Diary Through Spirit, the first of a trilogy, and fourth is Gone to Spirit with Love, a very special book dealing with our beloved pets, going over the rainbow bridge and being taken care of till it is our turn to pass through the veil, holding the hand of a loved one. So let's give her a nice warm welcome. It's Lesley Shepherd. Hello, Lesley, are you there?
Yes, I am, Pat. So nice to be here once more. And I believe that this show will be open to callers after a music break later on.
That's correct. Yes, that's true. I want you to tell us a little bit more about you. You're into so many different things here. And I know I was involved with one of your Bridging Circle sessions that you had. But tell me, let's start from the beginning. What got you started on automatic writing?
Before we go into that, may I just give a message first from my guiding light that came through this morning? It's a beautiful piece, and I think the world is in need of this particular passage. So before we get on to the main interview, I would love to be able to put this little message across, if I may.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please do. That'd be awesome.
It was given with automatic writing today, and the words are as follows. Because the earth plane is undergoing a lot of uncertainty at present, we, the guardians of your world, wish to impart that those who choose to go to spirit early, before their lifetimes of wonderful adventures are completed. There is a void when passing over through the veil, and loved ones do not have a chance to be guided to be beside you and to take your hand to go through for protection and to be reunited with loved ones in the spiritual realms. Furthermore, with life after life, there are many opportunities that you will miss out on, this mortal coil of mankind, and to the extended lifetimes to come. And that's where the message ends.
Wow, that is beautiful. I like that a lot. I really do. And I can resonate with what is being said. Okay, so what...
So you asked the question, how did I get into automatic writing? So I will answer that for you, Pat.
Okay.
This came quite innocently while I was writing a letter to a pen friend, because at them days there wasn't internet as such. I'm talking the 1960s. Mm-hmm. And as I was trying to get some inspiration for the letter, then I found that words were forming in my mind. So then I was starting to write them down. And that's when my inspirational writing or automatic writing began. Spirit-wise, I've always known about spirits since I was 6 years of age, having the usual imaginary friends who I would talk to, line my dollies and teddies up and pretend I was the teacher to my dollies and teddies. But in fact, my imaginary friends were in amongst those. And at that very early age, I was still wanting it to be very private between me and my little friends, rather than tell my mother about it at a very young age. It wasn't till later that I confided in my grandmother, and it was my grandmother that said, you have a talent here. Don't ever be frightened of spirit, because spiritual family will always look after you. So that's what I've always held on to, that I would always be protected by those spiritual family.
So did your mother accept what was going on, or did she still not know?
No, she didn't really know anything about it, other than when later on in her years she suffered with Alzheimer's, and I could actually get through to her mind to mind when I couldn't sort of speak to her. She didn't recognise me, and I kept telling her that she was married. She didn't even know she was married, and that my father, her husband, would be waiting on the other side when it's time for her to go. So I was able to do this with the mind to mind, because the spirit within your body can connect to other persons in a spirit and pass it on that way. So I do know there are lots of people out there that are going through the same sort of thing, because we're living longer. There's lots of dementia around. So I do implore them to try and hold their hands, go very quiet, and try and talk to them within and say, come back to me for a while and speak to me. And usually it jolts them out of their short memory that's lost there. It brings them back a little bit.
Wow. What about all right, in the opening, as I was introducing you, and stated that you were transfiguration medium. Can you explain that?
Right. I'm very, very fortunate, really, that I've been holding circles for quite some years, ordinary circles, face to face, and I'm only just getting into the media sort of side of it all, with doing everything online now, because it saves me travelling and finding that only a few people turn up. I've done the rooms where you hire a room and have a circle there, and basically it's to have a safe place for someone to allow their guiding lights to talk through their voice box. And because it's a physical mediumship, then you have to feel safe. So I, at a very sort of many years ago, probably about 10 years ago now, I found lots of other mediums that wanted to do that. They knew they had the gift of allowing the spiritual guiding lights to talk through them, but was a little wary of allowing them to do so. And so they should, to be on your own to do it. Then you're putting lower entities that could pop in when you only want the higher entities to sort of connect to you. So it's a safe environment, basically. And the transfiguration itself is when you feel that spirit is wanting to connect to you, not in the mind-to-mind way, but wanting to use part of your body, then you have to feel safe. And your face changes. And that's what we call transfiguration. You can actually see spirit through your face. Now, anyone who knows about auras, it's your internal light that's inside your body that is projected to the outside of your physical body, which causes an aura. That aura changes when you're doing transfiguration to show the entity that's trying to talk through you. And that's what we call transfiguration. It's taking it that little step further with that beautiful light that you glow from within, and others can sometimes see on the outside of your body.
So it changes your facial features, and I thought like the aura around somebody would be where different colors would appear.
That's correct.
Because of the energy or the feelings of the person that is connected with this aura. So how do you distinguish between them?
Right. Your inner body is a mirror image of your physical body. And the powerhouse is your spiritual cord that is in the centre of your stomach, if you like, where your umbilical cord would be when you're born. They put an ethereal umbilical cord there, which attaches your spiritual body to your physical body. And that is all energy. Energy is sort of perpetrated from that point. So when you pass over, that cord breaks. The ethereal body breaks away from your physical body through that umbilical cord. That umbilical cord, you can actually see it break if you're if you're sort of there seeing a loved one pass over, and you actually see them pass over, then if you've trained yourself to see the aura, you will definitely see that umbilical cord break. And it's sort of comforting, really, in a way, to know that they've passed over properly.
Oh, yes, I would think so. But channeling. Okay, so what's with the aura is one way of picking up, but when you channel, when did you start channeling? What made you go off in that direction?
Oh, we all channel, don't we? Anybody who's a medium that gives messages to other people, that's channeling. We're just doing it in a different way with transfiguration, and our higher lights, our higher existences that want to try and change this world that we are living upon by giving their little input through mediums such as myself, yourself, and others that tried this type of mediumship. So therefore, I really feel that if you have a gift to hone it to your best ability and go as far as you want to go. Some may not want to go as far as what we're doing. They might just need a little help with honing the gifts they've got. So I'm going to suggest that we do 2 bridging circles, one for mediums only, and this is all by invitation only, so that whoever takes part in the circle itself can introduce another that they know will be compatible to the group. So that's high flying, and obviously as one meets in the circle, that it'll be compatible to everybody as to what their next date would be, that would hold another one, and then I would post it out. So I'm putting it out there for people to sign up for either the Transfiguration Circle, which will be a bridging circle with our higher guiding lights, which will only be open to mediums and those that wish a safe environment to do so. And then an ordinary bridging circle, which would only have people in it, again, only invited by those that take part, or I've invited them, so you can get hold of me or friends that are in the circle and sign up for that, just a honing group. These 2 bridging circles, I feel, is better done freely, so no monies will pass hands. There's no I don't want money to come into it, because I want it to be friendship too. Because mediums meeting up with other mediums will get their own slant on things and may find different things for their own circles that they might want to do. And those that want to come in just to hone their gifts, obviously they want to go out and do ordinary one-to-one readings, which will develop them into a medium.
Okay. So mediums that would be, if they've already started a process where they're open enough to do so, correct? And
yes.
And then you're going to have a session with those that are just getting into it and trying to be directed in possibly connecting with their guides or a loved one that's passed on. So what explain to people, please, about the bridging circle that we had. We had this last year.
Yes. And we did 15, if you remember, Pat, and they're up on YouTube. So if anyone puts in my name, Lesley Shepherd, Bridging Circles, I've found that it does bring them up on the YouTube, and it brings up just the ones that we've done. And in particular, the Bridging Circle number 8, because we did 15, number 8 involves other countries and extraterrestrial beings and the off-world we talked about in those sessions, because the way it went really, Pat, was myself was the conduit as such. Yourself was keeping the show together so it could go up on YouTube. Linda Irwin was very close to the extraterrestrial origins, I've also had experiences that way, and you have too. So it sort of went that way, which brought in cosmology. So whenever we did a session on outer world, I was always able, once you'd sort of brought your guides through, to pinpoint it on my cosmology maps that I've got, to say exactly what quadrant or universe that they were actually speaking of.
Yes, yes.
Do you understand? It was like their planetary existence when they were on their own planet. Where did they reside? So I was able to pinpoint it on a map book that I've got. So that makes it individual and very unique for someone who is just starting with trance work. And they don't just want to trance family members, because you can give one-to-one readings in that way. I wanted to go higher than that. So that's why they were so special.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I want to ask you about the different planes as well. To your knowledge, how many do you believe might be out there, or is there numerous?
There is numerous. I can put it in a nutshell as to where we're at the moment. Because the children born in the millennium years, which we're now coming into 2019, 2020, there's going to be big changes come 2020, the way we're being evolved. We don't use all of our brains, so obviously there's lots of improvement that can be done there on the sixth sense side, where we will become naturally in tune with that part of the body, that part of the mind as such. So I think the first few planes that you would go, let me explain it this way. We're a three-dimensional being as such.
Yeah.
We see in 3D. Most of our things are 3D, you know, sort of we take photographs, we download things, they're all in 3D format. Now, we are being evolved. We're having to catch up because we're older, but, you know, children and teenagers around today have already got their fourth, fifth, sixth dimensional already in their psyche. So they're a lot more knowing than what we were. We've had to learn that knowingness and get used to it, basically. So your guiding lights that come through, they're fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth dimensional. It depends where they're coming from, which existence they're coming from. And they have to slow down their energies to actually make contact with us. So if they were to show themselves to us, whether it be ordinary entities or whether it be off-world entities, then for us to see it in our peripheral vision, we'd have to catch it quite quickly. For us that are only into the third and fourth dimensional being, then obviously it's going to take a little while for us to see it. So they would have to slow themselves right down. So seeing purposes, it's a little difficult, other than in your third eye, the centre of your brain there. Which is where you make connection when you're giving personal one-to-one readings, or when people just have that gift and they're just starting. It starts there in the third eye, between the eyebrows. So we feel spirit there. We feel that energy rising there. And to such a point that you feel that you need to be doing something with it. And that takes sometimes only days, some others months, some others years. It depends what level and how slowly you want to bring this into being as such, without me being too highfalutin on it. So for the ordinary person that is tuning into this station and listening to us, please don't be put off with the higher-minded things that I've just said. Take things at your own speed. Take things at your own pace, because people are all different. I lost quite a few people in my groups earlier on when I first started to do groups and circles and things like that, simply because I was coming from a different place to them.
Yes, I could see.
Do you
they
see
weren't
what I
as
mean?
open. Yeah, they weren't as open-minded at the time, because a lot of these things are very taboo to some. So,
Yes.
And it's a gradual growing that, I mean, there's light workers out there that are numerous at this time in all different fields of it. But I also would like to ask you about star seeds children and crystal children. These would they be pretty good at doing something like this?
Yes, most definitely, because they're already honing in. They're already, if I can put it this way, my grandchild was drawing at the age of 2 or 3. I gave her the blackboard and some chalk, and she did this wonderful picture of an off-world picture. And I had to pull her mum to one side and say, look at this, look what our Bella's done here. She's done this picture, and she was so young. It wasn't sort of matchstick men and people, as I remember rightly. I mean, she's a lot older now, so she's to her teens. She's coming into her teens now, so whether she'd remember it now, I don't know. But she's quite educated in her own mind, you know. Yes. And sometimes children are misread. They are, they look stubborn. They pronounce themselves as being a bit stubborn to their parents. And really, if we just listen to them a little more and step back a little bit, then they can teach us an awful lot.
Okay, we have about maybe 6 minutes before our break time. You're an author, and you've written quite a few books there. Would you like to let others know?
Yes, I've got videos out there on my books, and I put it on my timeline. So anyone who wants to see my books, then obviously they can go in on my timeline, and you can usually find it on there. You've put it in wonderfully in your e-magazines, so I know they're in there. But just a very quick pro of the books. I'm a self-published author. I've published them with Amazon. They're all out as ebooks. So if you look at A Diary Through Spirit, A Diary Through Spirit Intellectually, A Diary Through Spirit Masters to Masters, and the last one is Gone to Spirit with Love, and that's about our arisen pets. Now, the first A Diary Through Spirit, that came about from all the scripts I've written with automatic writing, and it gives Dear Reader sections in all of the books explaining what has been written prior to the Dear Reader section. So the Dear Reader section will be written on my behalf by my guiding lights sometimes, and explains what's going on with the world. The intellectually book is very much those that already know about life after death, but they want to know a little more of what happens when you pass over to spirit, and how they have also got a life, and they go into forums of education and that sort of thing. So that's what the intellectual part is. The Masters to Masters follows on with more off-world material, alongside cosmology, alongside hieroglyphics that they put over, and that's come through on scripts when they sign off. There's signatures there which your physical mind can't remember one signature to be repeated exactly the same again, so you know it's not you that's writing, it's them, and they're signing off with their unique signatures. So that's all in that Masters to Masters book. And then we come to the Arisen Pets book, which I and my beautiful my editor, Gail, she lost her galgo, I lost my cat, and we were grieving so hard, the pair of us, because it was within 3 weeks of each pet going, that I put pen to paper and I said, come on, let's put all this grief into a book to help others to connect to their pets. And in fact, I've put a narrative there of a meditation within that book, so that it will put you in tune with your pets that have gone over.
That is awesome. I also want to let our listeners know that the Off the Cuff e-zine is kind of on hiatus right now because we are making a lot of changes to it. But if you want, you can check out the issues that have Lesley in them, and she does a monthly gaze at the stars.
Yes, that's so that those that are getting messages from beyond, if they ask for a particular M number, that's M for mother number, then that is a quadrant, that's a universe, and I can pinpoint it for them. So obviously each month I would put out what is most prominent in the skies at that particular month, and also what to look at, whereabouts to look at in the sky. But also I put another piece in with that cosmology part. If someone gets in touch with me and they want to know what part of the quadrant is there, I ask my off-world guys to give me some information about that quadrant, and I put that in the cosmology piece too.
That is awesome. That's really awesome, because it validates to the person that's seeking to find out where they are and where they're coming from and what's coming through. Okay, so we're going to go take a little break right now, but don't go away. We will be right back. And the song title coming up is Feeling the Love. So be right back on the other side. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Web Weavers. I'm your host, Sprinkles Nixon, of it, aka Pat, and I have an awesome guest here that's going to enlighten us on areas that we didn't even know we could do. So please give a warm welcome back to Lesley Shepherd. Hello, Lesley, you there?
Yes, I'm here, still here, Pat.
Awesome.
We have two ladies sitting in the chat room, apparently, so you tell me in the break. Blythe Pelham, welcome. And also Susie James, an old friend of mine, wonderful medium. And I'm hoping that both of you can come to the Monday the 30th closed bridging circle for mediums. Now, Blythe, I'm not sure whether you would like to be in that group or whether you want to be in the other circle, which I will be holding, which will be just to hone the different gifts that you have. So obviously we need ladies and gentlemen that are quite up to speed with spirit. In other words, they're being told that they have got a certain gift and they want to just hone in on that gift. And obviously we do need the high risers as well as the ordinary person for that particular bridging circle. But Blythe, I will say to you, dear, that if you go into our medium circle, which is a trans medium circle, and see how you fly with it, because you may find that it will spur you on more than in just the ordinary gift honing in circle. So I will put the gauntlet down for you, Blythe, and just hope that you're free on the 30th of October. I'm going to do it at 8:30 UK time, so you can sort out your own time zone to tune into that particular time, which is 8:30 in the UK. Susie James, you come from UK, so hopefully then you will be able to maybe, I know you're a busy lady, but if you have the time, then maybe you can come in and help with the group as such. There'll be myself, there'll be Pat, and also another lady called Peg, and we have all done the trance work anyway. Susie, you've done it as well, so obviously you'll be able to help those that haven't done it before, and I'm sure we'll have a great time. So have we got any questions, Pat?
No, not yet. I just want to let everybody know that if they'd like to call in, the number is 1-928-485-4611. That's 1-928-485-4611. And we'd love to take your calls and any questions you may have. If you're in the chat room and you have any questions, you can type them in there, or again, give us a call. Lesley, why don't you tell us, like, what does the session? How do you do this session? I mean, what do you get us to do? When we were in the circle, it was a kind of a procedure, and and how it took over. It only controls the voice factor if you're trancing. Is that correct?
Yes, that's perfectly correct. I prefer to work this way. Some mediums actually offer their whole of their body to spirit and allow them to do the mannerisms and use the voice box, and they're not aware of what's going on. I find this a little dangerous. I feel that you must be aware of what is going on.
Yes.
So therefore, in my circles, I always make sure that I only allow spirit to connect through your voice box. In fact, my guiding lights are actually putting the protection around us as we're working. I'm quite aware of my guide talking to your guide. I can ask them specific questions so that my guide can ask the question and I would get the answer back, to which, when you're not doing the trance work, I can fill you in with the details as such. I always say, if you want to do it on your own at home, then you need the angelic realm around you. You need a perfect blue or white light around you so that you're in a beautiful space there. And therefore, I would always say to you, do the written work first before doing trance work. because you are channeling anyway with automatic writing. The writings change as your different entities come in. If it's real bad scrawl across the page, you know you have a lower entity there. And your gatekeeper guide is not working with you properly. So you cut the link. Just cut it out completely. Think of something completely different, and you'll find that the link closes. Or closing that white light around you and then expand it. So you're drawing it in and then expanding it, and it breaks the link with whatever lower entity that is trying to get through to you. But certainly, if it's done in the correct way, and you honed your gifts in the correct way, then you just feel it within your body. We talked earlier of the etherical cord, which is the umbilical cord holding your spiritual energy to your physical body. That's where you feel the energy coming through as you write, or you feel the energy coming through to you as you work with trance work. I would also say, if you're giving one-to-one readings, listen to your body. Feel that spirit coming in. And any spiritual form that shouldn't be there, then please break the connection. If you've got a really good gatekeeper guide working with you, which again, when you're honing a gift or you're doing trance work for the first time, I always make sure that you know of your gatekeeper guide. So as soon as I see the face coming over your face, for instance, I would say he was either Mayan or Egyptian or whatever, so that you know that the feeling you're feeling at that time, and it felt pleasant, you know only to draw in that energy again if you want to work with them again. So it's the same with automatic writing. As you're writing, you feel comfortable with the scripts that's coming through. There's nothing gobbledygook there. We haven't got sort of anomalies there within the writing. And you can't do this with a typewriter. There are so many people that are doing automatic writing with their computers and not doing the old-fashioned longhand. Yeah. They don't know what's connecting to them.
Yeah, well, being a palm reader, which I am, I noticed that doing it in person is a lot better, only because I hold the hand and I can read the lines and I can get all different sensations. So that I can relate to what you just said as far as doing it the old-fashioned way and writing it out instead of typing it out, because I think we get more from that once we connect with them. I also wanted to, I recall in one of our sessions, I think it was the very first one, but I kind of scared myself and everybody else that was in it because the voice took time to get adjusted to my voice box. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so it didn't come out it didn't come out as what I expected. It was really totally different. So I want everybody to know that it's really quite easy. I enjoyed it. It allowed me to know that there's another ability that we all have. And I was able to bring this through this session. And I was amazed at what can be done. And Lesley is there, and she actually is helping us hold this spirit and then letting it go. So she helps us. She strengthens us. So I just wanted to make a point on that.
That's good. Yeah, the vibrational energy is so important because the vibration within your body's got to feel right. Yeah. And then, you see, the thing is, spirit work on different levels of vibration, and they come through on different levels of vibration, different to when you're doing one-to-one readings. When it's just a family link, it's easy for me because I can lower my vibration down. You start off at that certain area, don't you? When you're doing one-to-one readings, when you've been doing it a long while, you ache for something new. And with the trance work, it is something new. And I'm hoping then you go on to do your own sort of little trance work groups as such. While we talk about this, there was a little point that I didn't bring up, that I want this all to be free. So there is no charge, and a lot of people have been asking me, will there be a charge for the circles? And because I'm going to do it as a closed circle, and then if you want to do one for YouTube for the, for the off the cuff, and then I'm quite happy to do a separate one for that. Through yourself, Pat, so that sort of you've got both ends. We can pick the cream, if you like, the de la creme of the groups to come forward, maybe to do a session which will go YouTube live. That's what's in my mind. So that's one. And the other thing is, because I need some remunerance for doing my self-publications, and I have got another book in the pipeline, of which it's going to take me 2 years to do it, because it's going to be such a thick book. I'm going to put a trilogy into one book, but it will be a good one. Wow. I mean, it'll cover everything that I've ever done, from off-world, cosmology, the lot. And to be able to print that, it costs me an awful lot of money. So any one-to-one readings, or if you want tuition privately one-to-one, which we can do through Skype or Messenger or whatever you wish it to be, and will be payable by PayPal. And this will enable my further publishing costs. So I think keeping the bridging circles free, and then if you want extra tuition one-to-one, then obviously there'll be a charge. But I wanted to put it up front there, so it's quite open up and above board.
That is awesome, because see, that's like a pay it forward, you know what I mean? That it kind of allows us to get a taste of what is happening and how we're doing it, and get a more grasp on why we're doing it, and it's only to gain more knowledge and find out a little bit more of ourselves. So this is really awesome that you're doing this for free. So everybody listen up and make sure you check out Lesley Shepherd, because she's an awesome lady and she does some beautiful, amazing work. Okay. There was something I wanted to ask you too, as far as when they do bring somebody through, when we bring spirit through, is it always the same one? Does it change, or do you get a constant fluctuation of all different ones?
It usually changes, but what I have found is that your gatekeeper guide that I keep banging on about comes through with you to many lifetimes. So he's got the knowledge of the way your forward pathway is actually going to broaden out. So he's got the knowledge there to be able to pass you on to other guides coming through, of which they had to have permission from our angelic realms first. Yes. For the, so that you've got quite a good caliber of spirit entity coming forward. And also they have a criteria too. They're only the guardians of our world, as I started this show off in the very beginning and gave that little passage from the guardians of our world. And we're talking off-world here. They want our little planet to remain. They don't want anything to happen to our little planet, even though we are quite rough with the interior of our planet, such as hydrogen bombs going off here, there and everywhere, in the past as well as in the future. We're going through such a bad time at the moment with people feeling the right to end their lives early, which is why I was so, these that do it in the name of Allah and things like that. And I don't want to go fully into that, else we'll be cut off air.
Being a martyr.
Yes, and I think they're pointing towards that, as well as the stresses and strains of our communities today. And this is such a pity, because you have so much to go on for, and the longer you live in this lifetime, the more you're gaining in knowledge. And then when you go off to spirit world and you start mixing with other spiritual realms, then obviously you're going to learn even more, and you won't have to be taught it. You will have been taught it here on the earth plane.
Astral projection, is this sort of kind of like that where you go and you travel out and you may visit different planes, spiritual planes?
Astral projection is different to astral travelling. Astral projection is when, if you're giving someone some healing, for instance, absently, they're not in the room with you, but you can send your thoughts out and make, some help with their, medical needs as such. In the spiritual way. I must stress this. We're only the conduit. We're not, we don't do miracles yet, put it that way. But basically that's astral projection, that the person that's being healed will say, oh, I saw you in a dream state last night.
Yes.
Okay? So you may have appeared to them within their third eye, within their dream state as such. I mean, if you go into meditation, you're in that kind of dreamlike state anyway.
Yes.
So that's that particular one. The other astral traveling that you might do is if you're in your dream state and you're suddenly shown a different part of the world, that you have this foreboding feeling that something's going to happen on the other side of the world, which we can sometimes call that a projection of energy that is we're being told of what's happening, such as a hurricane or the platonic, no, that's not the word, the plates, tectonic plates.
Titanic.
Yeah, can't get my tongue around it. It's plates anyway, and they're moving all the time anyway. But it causes a lot of disturbing weather and disturbing things to happen, on the earth plane as such. So we have lots to contend with there. I will say that we are actually travelling through the cosmos all the time. So it does mean that other planetary existences will be closer to us that wasn't, say, 20 or 30 years ago. They're finding new things out all the time through sound telescope, of which I was privileged to be at Jodrell Bank to see the big sound telescope. But now they've got one in, I think it's in China or Japan, I can't remember which, much bigger, 100 times bigger than Jodrell Bank. In fact, it's so big it's lying on the floor, and they're having to put antennae up to the sky for sound. So, because the world is becoming a smaller place with all the, our sort of connections as such, internet-wise, then it means that if someone over the other side of the world can suddenly tell a cosmologist that something's happening, and it's going to happen in a few months' time, or asteroid belt is coming close, or Nibiru, was it? A planet that was obscuring one of our satellite planets was coming in so close that they thought it was going to hit.
Yes, I remember that,
Yes. So, I mean, they knew about that many, many years ago, before it even was seen by the ordinary telescope, just by the sound waves.
Wow.
So that's interesting to go into that side of it, but that's me. I'm up for extra knowledge that way, and that's why I'm so excited with the trans work groups, if you like, because I think we're going to find out more from our guiding lights coming through, other people talking about it, not just me. So I put the gauntlet down there and say, look, this is their little platform. Let them come through you so that we can put this world into a better place.
Okay, so we got about 6 minutes. Would you please let our listeners know once again when the next sessions are starting up? I believe you said it was on a Monday, October 30th?
Correct, yes. And at 8:30 English time, 8:30 UK time. And I need you to sign up for it. So please, on my timeline or Facebook or yourself, I mean, I don't mind if it comes through to you, Pat, just give us your name and where we can contact you so that we can bring you into Google Hangouts.
Yes. And again, you can tell them where they can contact you on Facebook, on the timeline, as well as... what else do I have here? I have your website, which is, go ahead, you want to tell them?
Yeah, www.automaticwriting.com. That's my website. If you want to email me, I don't mind this because it's my business one. This is, let me get it right, leslie.automaticwriting@gmail.com.
I'm typing it in the window.
Yeah.
Okay, gmail.com.
Yes, because that way then you know that you're definitely on my list. I can actually pull it up on my emails, and I can remind you prior to the date, that it's still on, which bless her heart, Susie came through to me and sort of asked if tonight's was still on. Unfortunately, I think we're going to be finishing, aren't we, before the time that went out on the poster, but these things happen.
Well, even if they see this on the I can't remember what they call it, on demand in the Spreaker. When you hear this, and I'll put this out all over the place, and I'll also send out another little thing about what's coming up for October 30th. And I gotta say, you're absolutely wonderful. Do you have any last words for our listeners?
The only last words that I would say is be safe in what you do. Spiritual work is not to be taken lightly. You need to be guided by whoever is guiding you, and it's always nice to have some extra information about them. If you're wanting to connect with family, have a lovely photograph of them, look at the photograph, then start writing. As words come into your head from that photograph person, then you will know it's them connecting. Always get them to sign off and always put today's date on it.
Okay, I just want to let you know that Emerald said in the chat room, she said, I have really enjoyed listening to you both. Been lovely.
Thank you.
Okay, so listen, not sure if I'm going to have a show.
Sorry, darling. This will be in the archives now, won't it?
Yes, it will. And again, I'd like everybody in the chat room who has come and joined us here. I hope that you enjoyed what we had to give, and thank you, Lesley Shepherd, for being here and for joining us and for giving us another insight into some abilities we just may have. Don't be afraid to check out what your abilities may be. Find and learn more about yourself. And so from the Web Weavers, I'm Sprinkles, and I will see you again soon. Thank you, Lesley.
Bye.